She's born in the state of Mississippi. Papa was a copper and Mama was a hippie. In Alabama she was swimmer. Price you gotta pay when you pick the panorama. She never knew that there was anything more than poor. What kind of world does your company take me for? Black bandana, sweet Louisiana, robbing on a bank in the state of Indiana. She's a runner, rebel and a stunner, come from everywhere, saying, baby, what you gonna? Looking down the barrel of a hot metal 45, just another way to survive. California, rest in peace, simultaneous release. California, show your teeth. She's my priestess, I'm your priest, yeah, yeah. She's a lover, rebel and a fighter. She'll come when it got a little brighter. With a name like Danny, California, there would come a day that I was gonna mourn ya. A little hot fish, she was stealing another breath. I love my baby to death. California, rest in peace, simultaneous release. California, show your teeth. She's my priestess, I'm your priest, yeah, yeah. Who knew the other side of you? Who knew that other side you breathe? Too true to say goodbye to you. Too true to sad, sad, sad. First later, lifted animator, one for the now and 11 for the later. Never made it up to Minnesota, North Dakota man just coming for the quota. Down in the Badlands, she was saving the best for last. It only hurts when I left, gone too fast. California, rest in peace, simultaneous release. California, show your teeth. She's my priestess, I'm your priest, yeah, yeah. California, rest in peace, simultaneous release. California, show your teeth. She's my priestess, I'm your priest, yeah. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let me make sure of something. Alright, welcome to our first episode of the year for Football Mania, the show that takes a look at the most undisputed, most competitive fantasy football league in the entire world. This is our Season 2 preview episode. I'm your host, Chris Leslie, and we don't really analyze fantasy football as in-depth as all the other shows. We take a look at it, but through the eyes of our league, which is one of your standard 10-team leagues that I'm not going to explain all the rules, but there's 10 teams, and we do a snake draft versus an auction, which means we get a draft order, and it's a live draft, and then whatever the first order is, it reverses each round. That's what a snake draft is. The what's the other? The auctions, I don't know. I just guess they bid on players, but it seems pretty complicated to me. Anyways, that's how our league works. For those of you who didn't know, and our league is made up of 10 owners, as I mentioned. See if I can just remember them without even looking at a cheat sheet. All right. First of all, there's me, Chris Leslie. There's our commissioner, Chad Sweekhorse. There's our defending champion, Jason Sweekhorse, otherwise known as the Tommy Leah Bothell. There is Nick Barnhart, the guy who lost in the championship. Then there's his little brother, Nate Barnhart, the guy who lost in the playoffs. And then there's Jack Borman, a guy who didn't make the playoffs. Then there's Andrew Arms, another guy that didn't make the playoffs. And then there's Brian Todd, another guy that didn't make the playoffs. Tom Cushman, another guy that didn't make the playoffs. And last but not least, Chris Stalker. And yes, another guy that didn't make the playoffs. And as you know, I didn't make the playoffs either, but I didn't feel that I needed to emphasize that. So those are our team owners. And then, of course, we change names pretty much weekly, it seems like, but some people keep the same names, and some people don't. It's hard to say. But that is what it looks like this year. So without further ado, I just want to tell you a little bit about what we're doing tonight and for the rest of the season. Normally, as you know, we do the episode of Football Mania every Tuesday at 8 o'clock because it's after all of the weekend and Monday night football action has concluded, and so we know who the winners were, we know what the stats were, and we have a whole lot to talk about. Of course, the reason why we're doing this show tonight is because football season is actually already underway, as the Giants and Cowboys kicked it off last Wednesday night, and the Cowboys won that pretty handily. But the main action starts tomorrow because of all the Sunday games, and then there's a few Monday games as well. So thought we would do a show just to kick off our preview, let you know what the league looks like this year after our draft, who has who's playing who, and that sort of thing. And that's that end of it. And then what we also want to try and start doing this year on this show is more guests. And I've tried to do it to have guests kind of like with the video type chatting situation, and I honestly just don't think that the technology for that is very good. I think it's really grainy and the quality is not good, and you're not going to see the person that well, especially if you're looking at it through the eyes of a webcam. So the way we're going to do our guests are two ways. One is by phone, and I'll just have them call in by phone and put it on speaker. Or if you want to actually have FaceTime on this show, then you have to earn it, and you have to come here and be a guest on the show, and then we can have live interviews and live guests. But I hope to do a lot of that this year. So to all my co-owners in the league, you're all welcome, and I'd like to have all of you over. And then anyone else who wants to be a guest, if I think you're worth having on the show, send your idea or your request my way, and we'll take a look into that. We're going to do more guests, and then that brings us to what's happening this year. Obviously, we have a defending champion, and his name is Jason Sweekhorse. He won the league last year, pretty much without any difficulty to himself at all. I mean, he mowed through the league, and he's our defending champion. And he actually won the, the painting that I decided to make in honor of whoever won the league, which it hadn't been determined at that point. But he hasn't gotten it yet. So the next time we're all out in public for football, I'll make sure and present that to him. So he's our defending champion, but that's about the last you're going to hear of him, not going forward. So let's take a look at our teams. The first team is Dog the Bounty Hunter, and that is owned by our league commissioner, Chad Zweekhorst, otherwise known as the guy who pretty much should have won the championship, but he just got inside his own head and played a psychological mind game and lost. He has Drew Brees starting at quarterback, Darren McFadden is his starting running back, Doug Martin, Tampa Bay running back, is his other running back, Rashard Mendenhall, wow, that didn't even look like Rashard Mendenhall. It's Brandon Marshall. That's a pretty bad form of dyslexia. Okay, Brandon Marshall at wide receiver, Julio Jones, Antonio Brown, Jimmy Graham, the Bills defense, and Dan Bailey. Pretty strong lineup. And we don't need to read through every player's bench. We'll get into that as far as when we go through the matchups and stuff. And I believe he had probably, I don't know this for sure, but I think he had about the 9th pick out of 10 in the draft. So obviously he made a pretty strong team. He drafted a pretty strong team even with the second shittiest pick. But there are some people who argue that it's actually better to have those later picks, but who knows. The next team we'll take a look at is owned by Jack Borman, and they're called Two Mannings, One Cup. Very catchy name, by the way. And if you really want to see the picture, it's even better. You go to our league website and look it up. It's pretty creative, and I was told that he actually created this logo on his own. And if that's the case, then I think the guy has some pretty good talent as far as with graphics and photos and that sort of thing, whatever that field is called. I like his logo a lot. So he gets some points on that. Now, his quarterback is Eli Manning, which obviously we all know he's a good quarterback. He's not a great fantasy quarterback. He's pretty good, but I don't think he's worth your first-round draft pick. But evidently Jack did. And then he has Michael Turner at running back, Robert Turman, Roy Halou, Jordy Nelson, Deshaun Jackson, wide receivers, Aaron Hernandez, tight end, and the Ravens defense, and Garrett Hartley. So he's got a pretty strong team as well. And despite his questionable first-round pick of Eli Manning. And the reason why I say that is because I'm pretty confident that had he wanted Eli Manning, he could have probably gotten him a few rounds later. Next up, we have I Got Cheated. And sometimes I'm not really fresh on these names, so you'll have to bear with me. But I Got Cheated is owned by Nate Barnhart, who's the little Barnhart. And he went to the playoffs last year. His quarterback is Cam Newton. He's got Ray Rice at running back, Trent Richardson, Nate Washington, Wes Welker, and Vincent Jackson at wide receiver, Antonio Gates at tight end, and the Seahawks defense, and Jason Hansen as his kicker. So he has a really good team too, despite himself. And let's see here. Next up, this is taking a really long time. I shouldn't have done this. Oh well. Next up is the Dumpster Divers, looking to rebound off of a somewhat disappointing year last year. He has, and they're owned by Brian Todd, and I hope Brian will participate in our show this year. He's kind of the snobby fantasy owner that kind of sees himself in a world outside of the rest of the league, and he just kind of hides in his fortress and makes his secret fantasy moves and decisions and tries to dominate the league. Matthew Stafford, quarterback, Jamal Charles and Darren Sproles, running backs, Des Bryant, Greg Jennings, Victor Cruz, wide receivers, Scott Chandler, tight end, Eagles defense, and Matt Bryant, the Atlanta kicker. He's got a pretty decent team as well, but this guy was right next to me in the draft, and it was so frustrating because with the snake order, it reverses, and there were so many times where there was a particular player I wanted, and any time he was before me, there was a few occasions where he would swoop up on these guys. I did not like being next to him in the draft. It really annoyed me, actually. And then next, we have Team Leggins, which is owned by Andrew Arms. His team looks like this. He has the other Manning. Peyton Manning is his quarterback, Frank Gore, running back, Willis McGahee, Darius Howard-Bay, Calvin Johnson, Dwayne Bowes, wide receivers, Tony Gonzalez, tight end, 49ers defense, and Steven Gostowski as his kicker. Pretty decent team there as well. And then who else is next? We're only halfway through. Oh yeah, next up on the list is yours truly. and my team's name is the Gaping Kardashians. And my logo's not as elaborate, but I think it's funny because it goes well with the name. Tom Brady, Fred Jackson, Ahmad Bradshaw, the running backs, Reggie Bush, flex, Mike Wallace, Steve Smith, wide receivers, Rob Gronkowski, tight end, Packers defense, and Matt Prater, the Denver kicker. All in all, pretty happy with that. There's a few things that didn't quite go the way that I drew them up in the draft, but there's some things you just can't control when it's a draft. Next up, we have Rippin' and Tearin' Ouch, and that's Jason Zwieghorst, our former champion. Well, he'll be champion until I win it this year. But he has Matt Ryan, Arian Foster, Ben Jarvis, Green Elias, Percy Harvin, Roddy White, Eric Decker, Dustin Keller, Jets defense, and David Akers. Pretty good team, and he's actually who I play this week, so we'll get into that matchup in a little bit. And then our next team is Linwood Silicone Pillows, owned by Chris Stalker. This guy's is a pretty scary team, and the funny thing is he put it on auto draft, but I'm sure he very carefully edited his pre-draft rankings. Tony Romo, quarterback, MJD, coincidentally, and Chris Johnson, Adrian Peterson, running backs, Hakeem Nicks, Marcus Colston, wide receivers, Jason Witten is tight end, and the Lions defense with Sebastian Janikowski as his kicker. So pretty good team there. He likes his running backs, and as we all do. Next we have Fat Blonde Chicken and Midget, and that is Big Barnhart, Little Barnhart's brother, Nick Barnhart. Michael Vick, LaShawn McCoy, DeMarco Murray, Brandon Lloyd, Larry Fitzgerald, AJ Green, Jermichael Finley, Falcons defense, and Alex Henry. Pretty tough team there as well. He's got a good bench as well. Let's see here. Who's next? Next. Oh, Frisco's Ballers. And that is Tom Cushman. His team is Aaron Rodgers, Matt Forte, Steven Jackson, Miles Austin, Andre Johnson, Steve Johnson, Vernon Davis, Texans defense, and Rob Baronis. So, yeah, I don't know. His team has Aaron Rodgers, I guess. I don't think he had the first pick in our draft, though. But had I gotten the first pick, I think Aaron Rodgers was my choice. But it didn't work out that way. So I got Tom Brady instead. Alright, so that is our, it's kind of what the league looks like now. And now we'll just get into this week's matchups that are already underway. Let's see here. 1 second while I check on my karaoke song. Oh yeah, and as it goes, if you want to request songs, obviously you know how to do that. I just wanted to save the recording. I didn't need to hear it again, I know, as it sounded like the first time. But if you want to really make sure you don't miss the show, the best way to do that, because we broadcast it on Ustream, is to just open an account with Ustream. It's free. A lot of you have them already, but just go on there, sign up for an account, and then find us, which is CALX Network, and then you join our crowd, and that way you'll get alerts to when we're on, anytime we're on live, and then you can just click and you can watch. And so that's the easiest way for you to do that. For those of you who don't have Ustream accounts, I'm also videoing all of our broadcasts and putting them on YouTube as well. And I'll get you all the YouTube information is something like Mr. Chris Leslie, I think, something like that. I'll verify and double check what that is and give that out again, so that if you didn't catch it live on Ustream, or you can watch it on YouTube or whatever, we'll try to get it out there as many ways as I can. Okay, and so I'm just going to attend to this for a second. I got to post for my photo for the song that I played. Okay, it takes a while, and now it's still saving the picture. I don't know why it takes that long. But let's look at the league scoreboard and go through it here. And we'll just go matchup by matchup. First off, the Gaping Kardashians versus Rippin' and Tearin'. And I actually didn't do this on purpose, because if you think about it, the gaping Kardashians and ripping and tearing, it kind of goes together, but that wasn't intentional. At least not on my part. Because the only person that's going to do the ripping and tearing is the gaping Kardashians. This is a good matchup with Tom Brady against Matt Ryan. I think Tom Brady wins that one. Fred Jackson against Ben Jarvis Green Elias. God, I hate saying that guy's name. It's just too many syllables or letters or whatever. I think Fred Jackson. Ahmad Bradshaw, 14 points already on the board. He's going against perhaps Arian Foster if he doesn't get benched. As last I've heard, he's a game time decision, so I don't know. But Arian Foster probably has the advantage there. But nonetheless, pretty respectable effort by Ahmad Bradshaw. Reggie Bush against Percy Harvin. I'm going to say Reggie Bush. Steve Smith against Roddy White. Probably Roddy White. Mike Wallace against Eric Decker. Hopefully Mike Wallace. And Rob Gronkowski against Dustin Keller. I would hope Gronkowski. I really would hope. And the Packers defense versus the Jets defense. Probably give the edge to the Jets there, but still early to tell. Matt Prater versus David Akers. Who knows? Who cares? And the projections favor me 117 to 104, but those don't always mean a lot, obviously. But getting 14 points out of, what's his name, Bradshaw on the Wednesday night game, I was excited for that, for sure, because that's a good start. So it's gonna be a fun season, and hopefully I will beat the defending champion tomorrow. Of course, with the way that the schedule is, I play him twice in the year, so it would be good to get off to a good start. And we'll take a look at the next matchup, which is the Dog the Bounty Hunter versus 2 Mannings, 1 Cup. This one is an odd score. It's 12-6, but in favor of 2 Mannings, 1 Cup. But if you're Dog the Bounty Hunter, you're pretty happy with your kicker getting 6 points and matching up pretty well with their quarterback, Eli Manning. So right now, the Dog the Bounty Hunter has 127 points. Projected, sorry, he has 6, and 2 Mannings, 1 Cup has 12, but he's projected to have 85. So I'm gonna guess, unless some strange things happen tomorrow, that the Dog the Bounty Hunter is going to be kicking the shit out of 2 Mannings, 1 Cup. That's just my prediction. Sorry for the foul language, it's still early in the season. Okay, league scoreboard. Next matchup, I got cheated against Frisco's Ballers. 13-0 right now. Frisco's Ballers because of a pretty good performance from Miles Austin on Wednesday. Cam Newton against Aaron Rodgers. I mean, that's a good matchup because if Cam Newton plays like he did last year and Rodgers put up the type of numbers he does, that'll be a shootout. I'm still going to go with Rodgers because he's probably a better, more experienced and polished passer in the league. But still, pretty good matchup. Ray Rice against Steven Jackson. I'm going to have to say Ray Rice, but because I think Steven Jackson's getting old and I think the Rams suck. Trent Richardson versus Matt Forte. I think Forte's overrated, and I've heard good things about Richardson, so I'm going to go with Richardson. Nate Washington against Miles Austin. I don't think Nate Washington is going to match Miles Austin's numbers, although you'd never know because he's playing for New England now, and with a lot of the threats that New England have with Gronkowski and Hernandez and Wes Welker, I mean, you can't guard everybody, so he could be one of those guys who actually ends up getting a lot of looks because of that. Speaking of Wes Welker, oh, he has, sorry, that's his opponent. What an idiot. I was looking at that and I was like, I thought he played for Tennessee. He must have changed teams, but I was looking at his appointment. So, yeah, disregard everything I just said. That's funny. He's playing for Tennessee, so unless Jake Locker lights it up, I think that Miles Austin probably have that one with the 13 he already got. Wes Welker against Andre Johnson. Andre Johnson's going against Miami, and I think their defense is pretty good, and I think they have Arian Foster, and if he's hurt, they have Ben Tate, and Matt Schaub's kind of inconsistent. So I think Wes Welker will top Andre Johnson this week. Vincent Jackson against Steve Johnson. I think Vincent Jackson, but who knows? He's playing for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers now, so that'll be interesting to see. Seahawks defense versus the Texans defense. Unless things have changed dramatically, the Texans had one of the best defenses in the league last year, so I think that advantage goes to them. And then Jason Hanson versus Rob Baronis. I'm going to go with Jason Hanson. So that's what it looks like. And interestingly enough, the projections put I Got Cheated at 120 and Frisco Ballers at 121. So this game is projected to be very close. So we'll see what happens there. And then we've got the Dumpster Divers versus Fat Blonde and a Midget. This one is knotted up at 13 apiece, but the projections show the Dumpster Divers are projected to get 90, and the Fat Blonde Chick and a Midget is projected at 110, because obviously it looks like, yeah, 2 players have already played for the Dumpster Divers, and he got 2 players and only 13 points. So not the best efficiency and production that you want from your players. And he's going against Fat Blonde Chick and a Midget, has 13 points already, but he got all that with just 1 player. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. The Stafford versus Michael Vick. I think Stafford, because he's got Calvin Johnson. Darren Sproles versus LaShawn McCoy. Probably LaShawn McCoy. Jamal Charles against DeMarco Murray. I'd say that, well, DeMarco Murray already had 13 points, so I think that'll be more than what Jamal Charles gets. Des Bryant over against Brandon Lloyd, I would say probably Brandon Lloyd has a chance of getting more than 8 points. And Greg Jennings against Larry Fitzgerald. I think that probably Greg Jennings, even though Larry Fitzgerald's really good. Scott Chandler against Jermichael Finley. Who I don't know. Probably Jermichael Finley. And the Eagles defense against the Falcons defense, I'm going to say probably the Eagles defense. And Matt Bryan versus Alex Henry. I have no idea, and I don't care. Kickers are hard to evaluate, and especially at the beginning of the season. Okay, and then there's one last matchup, which is Team Leggins against Linwood Silicone Pillows. Right now, Linwood Silicone Pillows leads that one 27-0, but it took him 3 players to generate that many points. He had a really nice game from Tony Romo with 23, but then not so nice game from Hakeem Nicks with 3 and a 1 point by Jason Witten. So the projections stack it out as Team Leggins getting 96 points and Linwood Silicone Pillows getting 82. So we'll see how that goes. But that's got Peyton Manning against Romo. Depending on what Peyton Manning is going to do this year, I mean, from what I hear, it seems like he looks pretty good. So if he plays like he usually does, he could probably beat 23 points. Willis McGahee against Maurice Jones-Drew. I'm going to go with Maurice Jones-Drew because even though he's not starting, Willis McGahee's going against the Pittsburgh defense, and he's got a quarterback that throws the ball a lot. Frank Gore against Chris Johnson. I don't know, maybe Chris Johnson. Darius Hayward-Bay against Adrian Peterson. I'm going to say Darius Hayward-Bay. And who knows, these lineups might change by tomorrow. You know, not everyone keeps their roster set and they make changes at the last minute. Calvin Johnson against Marcus Colston. I like Calvin Johnson there. Dwayne Bowe against Hakeem Nicks. Well, I think even Dwayne Bowe can get more than 3 points. Tony Gonzalez versus Jason Witten's 1. I think Tony Gonzalez can beat that. And the 49er defense probably outdoes the... Oh, well, actually, hold on a minute. They're playing the Packers. So I'm going to say the Detroit defense. The Detroit defense will probably top them. That's my general opinion. So, and then it's the battle of 2 Polish kickers. Steven Gostowski versus Sebastian. God, Steven Gostkowski versus Sebastian Janikowski. Alright. Like, Sebastian Janikowski has a really strong leg, but he's just a psycho, so he's inconsistent with his field goals. So I'm going to go with Gostowski. Alright, so then we just breezed through the matchups, and we've talked about the teams, and we did all that in like 30 minutes. So there's not a whole hell of a lot left to do on this show, honestly. Let's see here. Oh, I should open my chat options. Huh. What's going on with this? Oh, okay. We're live. We're live, but we're live. It was kind of cool last year too, because our league actually had a few times where we had quite a few league members all in one spot, like on Sundays, watching football together. So that was kind of fun and entertaining. So hopefully we can build upon that next year, or sorry, this year. So if anyone wants to request a song, you can do that. Otherwise, maybe I'll just sing some karaoke and goof off for the last 30 minutes, and we'll call it a good. Let's see. On the karaoke website, I always go to the feature song page, and I just sing whatever looks good off of there. It's the songs that the website features, and so if you sing it, more people see it. And that's what I usually do. So we'll just kind of scroll through here and see if we find anything we like. Sometimes it takes a while. I think I have my mic on, so there's like a real bad echo, but I don't care. I kind of like the way it sounds. I know this is boring watching me scroll, but you can handle it. Oh, and you can, if you want to interact via text or phone, you can call 206-818-5528 is the number to call. I'm not finding a lot that I want to sing tonight. Even ones I usually like to sing, I just don't feel like it. Alright, this is a fun song. I'll sing this one. Here's a Quarter by Travis Tritt. Also, I'm kind of trying to, like, just for fun, be an aspiring comedian. So as the season wears on, I'll be kind of trying to incorporate some more like stand-up comedy into the show. But tonight I'm just going to get this show done just to have it done. I didn't have time to think of anything that funny to say. Okay, I'm going to get a sip of water and I'll come back and sing this song. Say you were wrong, never leave me alone. Now you're sorry, you're lonesome and scared, and you say you'd be happy if you could just come back home. But here's a quarter, call someone who cares. You call someone who will listen and not give a damn. Maybe one of your sordid affairs. But don't you come round here ending me none of your lies. Here's a quarter, call someone who cares. Well, I thought what we had could never turn bad, so you're leaving caught me unaware. But the fact is you run, girl, that can't be undone. So here's a quarter, call someone who cares. Call someone who listen and might give a damn. Maybe one of your sordid affairs. Don't you come around here ending me none of your lies. Here's a quarter, call someone who cares. Yeah, here's a quarter, call someone who cares. I wanted to get the chance to do their last guitar part, but I didn't. It was too slow. I can't seem to do the guitar and hold a microphone at the same time. It's difficult, and I don't even know how to play the guitar. I'm trying to learn with my Guitar for Dummies book, but it seems like most of the time I'm just screwing around with it on my own and not actually reading the book. So I need to start reading the book more often so I can probably get more better practice out of it. So let's see here. We got anything going on right now? You know, I don't really like the way that Ustream has changed a lot of its stuff because it seems like it's making it more and more difficult for us free people, the people who have the free accounts, to do their broadcasts. They're really trying to just make it to where you have to pay a lot of money and do that. So I wish that wasn't the case, but it is. And then I'm trying to think, but the only thing that sucks is like, well, now that we don't have really any football to talk about, and I don't have any comedy, then all I really have is karaoke, and I can't really do anything until the last song that we just sang gets recorded. So I guess I'm just gonna have to sit here and try and shoot the shit while I kill the time, and just see what happens. But I guess it's good practice for the broadcast. It'll be a lot more fun once the games have gone on and people are winning and losing and talking smack. One thing though, this gives us a chance to talk about is the whole MJD thing. Many of you recall, like last year, there was a big controversy, a big hubbub in our league when Jason's weak horse, his team made a trade, Roddy White in exchange for Maurice Jones-Drew, and you know, Roddy White being a running back, Roddy White being a wide receiver, and Maurice Jones and MJD is a running back. But Big Barnhart, Nick Barnhart, got all mad about the trade. He thought it was one-sided and unfair because he thought that MJD was a running back having a great year, and Roddy White was a wide receiver having a good year, and he thought that was a lopsided and uneven trade. And he asked what the rest of the league thought and whether or not maybe that trade should be vetoed. And the majority of the owners decided that it should be vetoed, and the commissioner then listen to the majority, which was a small majority. It wasn't I don't even know if by technical definition you can call it a majority, because I actually think a real majority is more than just one person. And I think when it all came down to it, I think because the commissioner's neutral, so that leaves nine votes. So maybe it was 6-3. Okay, maybe it was a majority. I'm not sure. But I voted to let the trade go through, and I'm sure the two guys that did as well, but the rest of the league didn't agree. But that just caused so much controversy and bitterness and upsetness and all sorts of things. Our defending champion is still mad about that trade, and he actually contemplating leaving the league, that he was so upset about it. But what is interesting is if you look at both of their rosters, they both have those same exact players this year. Chris Stalker has MJD, and Jason has Roddy White. So it'll be interesting to see if those two try to pull a trigger on a similar trade this year, and if they do, what the results of that will be. Personally, I am in favor of giving the fantasy owners the freedom to use their discretion in how they want to run their teams and how they want to make trades and that sort of thing, because sorry, saving the recording, because I think that makes it fun. The counter argument to that is that you don't want to have collusion, so that say if there's one team that's out of the playoffs and they're not going to win, but they want to help their buddy win, so they're going to make these one-sided trades or whatever, or if somebody just gives up because their team's out of it and they don't care, you want to keep the league competitive. And I agree with wanting to, maintain competitiveness and the integrity of the league. I think that's a good policy, but I think that for the most part, hold on, I had to post for the photo. I think for the most part, you can count on the owners to police themselves as far as that's concerned. And I think that in cases where it is a clear-cut, questionable trade, not a subjective, is this player better or that better, there's going to be trades where one player might be better from a fantasy standpoint than the other player, but you also have to factor in the different needs of the teams involved. So if one team needs something in particular, he might be in a position to where in order to fulfill that need, he gives up something better to get what he wants or to get what they need. And so I think unless it is just completely blatant, to where any objective person would look at that and say that is, unconscionable, then I think the commissioner and the league should probably stay out of the trades. So how would I suggest that go about? If someone has if someone feels that such a trade has been made, then I feel that the commissioner should use his discretion in exercise his discretion in determining whether or not he thinks that could be seen that way. If he thinks it could, then he could put it up for a vote, and then I think that there should be a rule that in order for a trade to be vetoed, I think it should be more of a unanimous type of a ruling. So probably like I would say 7-2 would be a good threshold. But that's just me, and the only problem with trying to institute rule changes and all that with these fantasy leagues is that you'd have to get everyone together at once, and they'd all have to try and discuss it and vote, and trying to do that's pretty difficult. But I guess it's possible, but you never know. So now we only have 15 more minutes, so I think we can finally say that we're 2/3 of the way through this preview, which is our first episode in our second season. Excited to have the second season coming along. Yeah, we're going to just finish this rest out with maybe some karaoke and some just shooting the shit. What page were we on? Sorry, I'm talking out loud, trying to go into the karaoke features page. But tomorrow, excited to get up early in the morning and watch all the games. Hope you are all going to do that too. I'm not sure where our location will be. We kind of have a tentative plan on that, but we're going to see how like the first week or two goes, and once we feel that we're in a good established location that's going to just remain our consistent location, and we'll divulge that location so that everyone who watches the show and wants to hang out for football on Sundays can join. It'll be pretty fun. Let's see. Oh boy, we got a lot further in this playlist than I thought. And it's Saturday night too, so this isn't normally the time that we're on, and I never announced that we were having a show. I didn't even decide to do this show until about 20 minutes ago, or 20 minutes before we went on, and so nobody really had any advance notice, so it's kind of understandable that we haven't had a lot of audience participation. Because what I wanted to do is do a preview show at some point before the season started, and I intended to maybe do that before the first NFL game, which was this Wednesday, but because I didn't get that done, I just figured I'll do it before the majority of the game starts. So we're still getting off to a good start, getting on time. I mean, there's only one game that's passed. Okay, now I went too far. No, I didn't. I didn't go far enough. It's always good to remember the numbers that these playlists are on. Oh yeah, here we are. So that's the page we just left. Okay, so we're all the way to page 9 of their playlist. So that means it's a pretty crummy playlist, I think. Nothing's really sticking out to me right now. And while we wait, well, I don't want to do that. I'll pick my song first. I was going to check my college fantasy. Yep, I'm in college fantasy this year, but this show's not about college fantasy, and I don't think I'm going to do a show about it unless things get really cool in that league. But I don't think that league's cool enough to do that yet. This sucks. We're all the way up to, where are we here? Oh, I'm going to try to sing this song, just because I like the song, but I don't think I'll sing it very well because it's not really my genre of music. But I can try to play the guitar if there's not a lot of guitar in it either, I don't think. Okay, and again, I got to get more water. I'm not used to talking this much, so my throat is getting fatigued. Well, that kind of sounds bad. Oh, it's not even ready yet. Wow. It's the computer taking a little longer than normal to load the music. That'll give me time to practice. And I know this guitar's out of tune. And I actually have tried to tune it, and I had it probably where it's a lot closer than it is now. I just haven't taken the time to try and do it, and then it got detuned from where I had it, if that makes any sense. But I actually did put the strings on all by myself, and I've never done that before. So I'm excited. It took me 6 hours, but I'm excited nonetheless. B minor? B minor. Ooh yeah, B minor, that's alright. Alright, we're jamming. I wanna jam it with you. We're jamming, jamming. And I hope you like jamming too. When the rules ain't no vow, we can do it anyhow. If and I with you through. 'Cause 'Cause every day we pay the price with little sacrifice. Jamming till the jamming's through. We're jamming. You think the jamming was a thing of the past? We're jamming. And I hope this jam's gonna last. No bullet can stop us now. We'll never bend when there was power. Never can bottle sold. We will defend the right. Jah children must unite. Life is worth what you spend cold. We're jamming. Be my brother, we're jamming in the name of the Lord. We're jamming. We're jamming at the great fire, oh yeah. Holy Mount Zion, holy Mount Zion, just in Mount Zion, and rules all creation, yeah, we're jamming. We're jamming. See, I wanna jam it with you. We're jamming. And jammed, I hope you're jamming too. Jam's about my pride, the truth I cannot hide. To hide you satisfied. True love that some exist is the love I can't resist. So jamming is by my side. We're jamming, yeah. Wow. I wanna jam it with you. We're jamming, jamming, we're jamming, we're jamming, we're jamming, we're jamming, we're jamming. Hope you like jamming too. We're jamming, we're jamming, we're jamming, jamming, jamming. I wanna jam it, wanna jam, I wanna jam it. You know we're jamming, we're jamming. I hope you like jamming. I hope you like jamming, 'cause I wanna jam it with you. I wanna jam it with you. B minor. I like it. Hope you like jamming too. I wanna. Ooh, oh. I knew this was gonna. I knew that was gonna happen, but I still thought I'd do it anyways. That was, I could not find that key to save my life. B minor. It's a weird, obscure key I don't see all the time. And we're getting close to the end. 7 more minutes, so who knows? By the time this recording loads and I get another one, maybe one more karaoke song, and then that'd be probably enough to call it quits. While we do that, though, I'm going to look at my college fantasy team and see how they're doing. They're kicking the crap out of Little Barnhart, who's in that league too. So that'll be nice to beat him. He has a really good team in that league, but I think I'm going to get the win this week. And I guess since we're pretty much done talking about ESPN fantasy, I can go to my fantasy league. I don't need to look at Football Mania right now. Let's see here. Okay, go to the game tracker. See, we do one league through ESPN, which is the NFL league, and then the college league is through CBS. And CBS website is the most archaic website I've ever seen in my life. It's not user-friendly, it's inefficient, and it's just awful. The ESPN one is much better. That's just my personal opinion. So right now I'm up 146.5 to 110, and I think that might be a final. Final. Yep, that's a final. So I won 2-0. 2-0. It's a long season, but I'm excited. I'm 2-0 in the college league. That's great. Great news. Great news. Ooh, yeah. Let's see here. Anything materially changed since the last time I looked at my team? Oh, yeah. Oh, that game's not even over yet, so I could still get some more points. I got 146, but I still have running back Randall for Oklahoma State. So, all right, that recording's ready, kind of. I'm just gonna listen to like a couple seconds of it, just because I want to know how far out of key I was. But depending on how long it takes to load, I don't know. We might not. I don't want to wait all year for it. That always frustrates me. And because we got like 4 minutes, and I want to just really make an effort to keep our shows running on a timely manner. Like get in, get out, and get done, and just have 1 hour be 1 hour. But then again, if we're having too much fun and we just want to keep going, we might do that. But this isn't one of those shows. This is just me kind of like doing an infomercial type of show, because it's the first one. It's like the first day of school when your teacher never does anything except talk about stupid shit. Like, you know, don't turn your assignments late. Call me if you need help. Who are you? Where are you from? What do you want to do? All that bullshit. So this is pretty much what this show is. It's like the first day of school. Okay. Just want to hear the first couple little, you know. Ooh, yeah. All right, we're jamming. I don't know what that was, but I didn't like it. That's for sure. That was like really off key. I don't even know, but I'm not going to lose too much sleep over it. Alright, that was a really crappy recording though. And so if anyone hears that, they're going to be like, wow, this guy sucks. And then I'll wait for that to save, and then sing one more, and that will be the end of our show for our first show of our second season. And it's our fantasy preview show. So hopefully all of you who have your own fantasy leagues, wish you the good luck in your fantasy games tomorrow. And it'll be a lot of fun. This is a fun time of year, so I'm excited, and you should be too, for an all-new season of Football Mania, the undisputed, most exciting fantasy football league in all the world. That sorry, I hit something and it brought me where I didn't want to go. Okay. This is kind of one of those websites I've mentioned before that's not the most efficient either. It's good though, it provides good karaoke songs. And most of the time, any song someone like rattles off, unless it's like brand new, then they have it most of the time. For compared to, you know, a lot of places I've actually gone and sang karaoke live at. J. I'm trying to figure out what letter were we on what page. Sorry. Oh. It might be that there's a new playlist now. Yeah, there is, because it's like past noon Eastern time, I see. Alright. Oh, this works. It's a Dwight Yoakam song. First song I saw that I liked. It's a Dwight Yoakam song. We'll go ahead and sing that one, and that's what I'll go out to, and we'll end the show with some Dwight Yoakam, and it's 1,000 Miles from Nowhere, and it's like, oh, you know what though? He's still got to work on getting out of here on time, because it's 59:49, so we're still going to be late, but I think we're off to a decent start. Something too, because I have too many I don't have enough space for storage. I don't know if it will allow me to save any of the broadcast.